What's up guys, Mizzo Frizzo here, and welcome back for part 6 of my how to make a multiplayer FPS in Unreal Engine 5 tutorial series. Now this part is going to be a relatively quick one. I'm just going to go through a few things with you guys and iron out a few kinks, and I will also help you add firing animations and line traces to your project, and then we're going to have a look at ironing out some kinks with the animations and making, for example, our third-person animations line up a little bit better with the line traces that are drawn from our first-person weapon. But just before we get started, guys, a quick reminder that the first 150 people to go to my Patreon and contribute $10 to the channel will get lifetime access to my Discord, Mizzo's Dizzo, even if you immediately cancel your Patreon membership. So with just one payment of $10, you will get lifetime access to my Discord server. Without further ado, guys, let me show you how to do this. Alrighty guys, now the first thing I want to look at is just swapping out this pistol with a pistol from the military weapons silver pack, because this pistol's firing animation is a little bit janky. I also just don't really care for the design and how sort of the front has been modeled here. It looks okay from sort of back here, but yeah, just basically just because of the animation, I want to swap this out. So I'm going to head on over to the Unreal Marketplace, and I'm going to find this asset pack Military Weapons Silver. It is by the same people who do Military Weapons Dark, but it's just got a slightly different set of weapons. I'm going to hit Add to Project. I'm going to search for my project and hit Show All Projects, select my project, and then select the most recent compatible version, which is probably going to be 4.27, and hit Add to Project. And now that this one has been added, I'm going to go on down to Military Weapons Silver and Weapons, and I'm going to find the Pistols A. I'm going to Control C the name, open up Pistols A, click Make Static Mesh, find that folder that it was in and select it, rename this Pistols A Static Mesh and hit Save. Close this, open up the static mesh, and add box simplified collision, save and close that. And now I just want to swap out this static mesh on the pickup here. So I can actually just click the pickup and press Control B to browse to that pickup blueprint and open it up. I'm going to click Open Full Blueprint Editor, choose the pickup object and change the static mesh to my Pistols A static mesh. Compile, save and close that. And I also want to go to my weapons folder and BP pistol, and I'm going to change the skeletal mesh asset to Pistols A, and I'm also going to make sure that I change the firing animation to the fire pistol W that applies to that correct pistol. So you can see these both have identical names, but this one is for the silver pistol. So I'm going to select that one and then browse to it and open it up and just double check that that is the right one there. And while we are here, this animation does need a little bit of tidying up. You can see the muzzle flash and the fire cue is well before the hammer hits and the slide starts sliding back. So I'm going to go to the first frame here where the hammer hits, and I'm just going to drag these up so that these fire off right there. Well, that's a little bit cleaner. And you can see the slide comes back here and then all the way back to the front, and that is the problem with the dark pistol, the Pistols B, is the slide does not return all the way to the front at the end of the animation, and you can alter the animation to make it a little bit better, but I think it's just better if I swap it out for this one here. So now that that's all been done, that's been changed, and the skeletal mesh on the blueprint itself has been changed as well. What I want to look at next with you guys is adding blend spaces to your first person animation blueprint. So the animation blueprint that we sort of retargeted doesn't come with ground speed that you can plug into blend spaces. to play blend spaces in that animation blueprint. So what I've got here is a few animations that I just brought over from an old project, and I'm going to create a blend space using these animations and then add it to my first person animation blueprint. So the first thing I want to do is just open up my first person character. So first person blueprints, BP first person character. And in the character movement component here, I'm just going to check the max walk speed. The max walk speed is 600. So in this folder with my animations, I'm going to right click and go to animation, legacy, blend space 1D, and find the skeleton, which should be the metahuman base skeleton right here. And I'm going to call this blend space underscore pistol underscore walk run, something like that. I'm going to open this up, and then in the asset details here, I'm going to find my horizontal axis. I'm going to call this speed and make the maximum axis value 600. That's my walk speed. And I might change this to 6 grid divisions and choose snap to grid. And then I'm going to find my animation sequences here, and I just want to make sure what I've got here: pistol idle 2, pistol idle run, and pistol idle walk. Okay, these are the correct ones. So in my blend space, I'm going to grab my pistol idle 2 and put it at 0 here. Pistol idle walk, and I might put that about here. And pistol idle run, I put that about here. Now, this is, this is just to show you how to add blend spaces to that first person animation blueprint. So I'm not going into detail with these blend spaces. I am basically just creating this one, and then we're going to add it to our first person animation blueprint. So I'm going to go to my first person character here and find my first person mesh, and then browse to its animation blueprint and open this up. And if I go to the event graph, what you'll see here is we've got this is moving variable, and it has get velocity here, and we can use this velocity to get a ground speed. So what we can do is just make a little bit of space here, move these out here a little bit. Whoops, bit of a visual bug there. And off of get velocity, we can get the vector length xy. So it's the length of the velocity vector on the x and y axes, so it is relative to the ground. And we can promote this to a variable, and we can call it ground speed. Plug this into some execution pins like so. And now we have access to our ground speed. So we can head on over to the anim graph and find my pistol anims state machine here, and I'm just going to throw this blend space into the base here. So I can get rid of this. I can find my blend space pistol walk run, plug this in, and plug in my ground speed, hit compile and save. And now if I go and pick up a pistol, I should have my new animations, which are not set up correctly. I also have lost all of my movement input, so I don't know what's happened there. Maybe I was stuck inside of another character. I think I was stuck inside the other character because they spawned at the same. I don't really know why that is so high up there. Let's take a look at, if we go to our first person character, go to the viewport, we can select the arms, and we can change this to use animation asset, and then I can select my pistol idle, and yes, it's just the position of the arms here. They actually are really quite high. If I go back to my blueprint, you can see they start down here, and if I change that to the asset, They move up like this. I don't exactly understand why that's happening. But I'm not going to use these animations anyway, and neither are you, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. I'm going to change this back to the blueprint, and I'm actually not going to use this blend space because those animations have, come up a little bit wacky. I will just undo until I get back to using that one there. And I've crashed my editor. Sorry about that, guys, but don't worry about that too much. Like I said, I'm not going to use that blend space because, yeah, those animations haven't really translated to my first-person arms very well, but I just wanted to show you how to set up a blend space. And before we go on to doing some firing animations and some line traces, I just want to quickly also look at a bit of an animation thing with you guys that it sort of crept under my radar for a while. But if we go to, so there's a couple of things I want to address. If we open up our third person animation blueprint, so our ABP Many C, open this up, and I go into, for example, my assault rifle anims here at the base, we have actually, because we copied these from our metahuman animation blueprint, we actually have copied the metahuman animations in here. So we may swap our third person mesh out for a metahuman in a future episode, but just for now, this is not ideal. We do want to find the correct animations for our UE5 skeleton. So UE5 idle rifle iron sights. Whoops. Drag that out. Check loop animation and plug this in. And I'm going to do the same with my pistol anims. So if I also go into pistol anims and a base, we'll have this MH idle pistol when actually we want UE5 idle pistol. Like so, loop animation, plug this in, and this sort of crept under my radar until I was doing some testing before recording this tutorial, because I would go and grab a weapon, and the third person animation that's showing on the third person character there was slightly different, and it was because it was taken straight from the metahuman. So you can see on the metahuman in first person, his left hand is sort of not in the correct position there, and that's sort of accentuated, whereas on the third person his hands are sort of overlapping more. So I sort of noticed that it was playing a different animation there, and when I went to adjust the animations, yeah, it was just not ideal. So here, for example, if I wanted to adjust this third person animation, I need to adjust the UE5 idle rifle iron sights, and it wouldn't be playing that animation that we're seeing there. So I'm actually going to go ahead and adjust this in a moment after we do the line traces, because you will notice that we're going to draw a line trace from our first person weapon, so how we see the weapon on our screen, that's where we're going to draw the line trace. And we want to make that line up with the sort of alignment of the weapon in the third person view as much as we possibly can. But the other thing I wanted to point out is that if you do open up an animation on your metahuman, so if I go into anim starter pack, metahuman, and I just find pretty much any of these would do as an example, but I am just going to find idle rifle iron sights because that's one that we're using. Now, when I opened these up, they looked a bit funny. His, head didn't fit on his body properly. It looked really, really weird. And I did notice that the preview mesh was actually set to this F female medium normal weight body. So if I select that, you'll see it looks really, really odd, and it will not play this animation correctly. So if you're adjusting the animation, for example, this really will not work for you. So you want to make sure that in preview mesh on your animations, if you open up an animation like this for your metahuman body, make sure the preview mesh is set to the correct skeletal mesh that your metahuman is using, and then click this apply to asset down here. And this just means that every time you open the asset, it will permanently have this skeletal mesh applied. You can see that looks a lot better. And now that we have gone over those couple of little quibbles, let's look at doing a line trace. So I did try to set this up. Just going to close a few of these tabs. I did try to set this up so that it was inside of the weapon component, and every single time I did that, it produced either a really whack result where it took my character out of its game instance and created another game instance which didn't have both players in it, or it would just totally crash my editor. I have no idea why that would be happening. But for now, we're going to avoid putting the logic inside of our weapon component, and we're just going to put it inside of our BP first person character. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by finding our IA shoot. But IA shoot, which comes in the first person template, is not in the default mapping context, is in that weapons mapping context that's changed when you pick up the template rifle. So we actually just need to add IA shoot to our input mapping context, our default one. So if we go to first person and input and find IMC default, we can add a mapping here. We can select IA shoot, and then we can drop this down, click the little keyboard icon here, and then the left mouse button to assign this to the left mouse button, and then we can save and close that, and now this will actually work. What we need to do is first check if our equipped weapon is valid. So if we have an equipped weapon, we can right click on this and convert to validated get, and then I'm also going to go ahead and do a special replicated variable for the transform of our socket that we're going to fire our line trace from. So you're going to have to set this up on every weapon because it's going to have the same socket name on every weapon. So I'm just going to do it for these two. I'm going to start with my pistol in weapons silver, pistols a skeleton right here. I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to right click on the root bone and add a socket, and I'm going to rename that socket barrel. I know it's technically muzzle. You can call it whatever you want. I just call mine barrel, and then I'm going to select barrel and move it up in front of the muzzle like so, and doesn't have to be exact, but I'm going to put it about the center of the muzzle and about 1 millimeter in front like so. And I'm also going to create this socket on my assault rifle, so I can save this and close this, and then go to military web dark, weapons, and assault rifle B skeleton, and then right click on the root, add a socket, rename it to barrel, grab barrel, and move it into just about the right position. Oh, fight with my camera speed there. Again, around the center of the muzzle, maybe 1 millimeter in front, doesn't really matter too much, just like so. Now I can save this and close this, and back in my BP first person character, on equipped weapon, I'm going to get the socket transform, and the in socket name is going to be barrel. And then I'm going to promote this to a variable, call it muzzle transform, and make sure that muzzle transform is set to replicated because we want to pass this through to the server. And now let's create a couple of custom events. So we can create one custom event, call it run on server fire. Call it whatever you like. I'm going to call it run on server fire. Create another one called multicast fire. This one is going to be run on server and reliable. This one is going to be multicast and reliable. And what we can do here is call the run on server fire here. And we need to pass through that muzzle transform. So what I can actually do is I can add an input down here and call it muzzle transform, make it a transform, and then pass through the muzzle transform. And then here on my ROS fire, I can just right click here and split this struct pin. And I am going to do a line trace by channel. Start will be the muzzle location. And off of muzzle transform rotation, I can get forward vector. Whoops, get forward vector. And I'm going to multiply this by a single float. Just punch in 15,000 for now. You may want to add your weapon's range to this so that it, can only draw the line trace as far as the weapon is ranged. But for now, we're just going to put 15,000 and we're going to add this to our start location. Make that our end location. We can make this trace complex. Draw debug type as for duration. And we can leave the rest as default. And then off of the end here, we can call our multicast fire. And multicast fire will just for now, just play the animation on our weapon. So we can play animation. It's not actually going to be any of these. It's going to be on the equipped weapon. So what I might do is just grab equipped weapon here and then play animation like so. And off of equipped weapon, we can get firing animation. And we can plug that into new anim to play. And that should all be working now. So if we hit compile and save and we hit play, and I go over and grab a weapon, it should play the animation with the muzzle flash and the sound in both instances, no matter which player I use. Very nice. And if we pick up a pistol, it's also playing that animation on the pistol. Very nice. The other problem with the pistol's B firing animation is if you mashed fire, the sound would cut in and out. I don't know. There was some weird bugs with it. It's not a good animation. I think this mesh looks better anyway. So we'll stick to pistols A. Now, what you'll notice is this difference in the sort of aim rotation and where this line trace is being drawn. There you can see it's drawing sort of down from the weapon in third person. And this is just a matter of adjusting the animation. So you can see in third person there, that animation is way off anyway. You can see the angle is way off to the side. So if I look right at him here, the trace is going towards him, but the gun is pointed way off to the left. And by the way, the line trace is only showing on the server here because we don't need it to play anywhere else. We basically, if we need to do something on all of the clients, we can just pass through the necessary information from the server, such as the hit result of the line trace. Yeah, so we're just going to draw the line trace on the server. But that's pretty much it for today, guys. It's just going to be a quick one, like I said. But let's just have a look at adjusting these animations a little bit and see if we can get these to line up just a little bit better. So I'll just do the assault rifle animations. If I go to my anim starter pack in UE5, and find my idle rifle iron sights and open it up. I don't have the correct preview asset on here, so I'm going to click this skeleton button and browse to the skeleton, and I'm going to find my socket and remove everything from the pistol socket, go to my ARB socket, add preview asset, and add my assault rifle B, and then save this, and I'll actually just close that animation and reopen it, and it will have the correct preview asset on there. I can pause this and go back to the first frame, and the first thing I'm going to do is play with the right hand a little bit. So I can go to the skeleton tree here and find the right hand, and I'm going to change this to world space, not object space, and make this point more sort of in the right direction. And I might just straighten it up a little bit. I will just point that straight ahead like so, and you can sort of use the gizmo as a reference here. That's pretty much pointed straight ahead, and then I am going to keyframe that right hand, and then I'm going to play with the left arm a little bit. So I'll get the, actually what I'll do first is I'll look at the plane that he's standing on and use it as a reference to make this weapon a little bit more level. So I'll also level that up like so, and that looks just about right. Keyframe that there, and then I can place the left hand underneath by just getting the left upper arm, bringing it in a bit and up a bit, and I'm not going to do anything with the hands or anything like that. I'm pretty much just going to make this look nice in third person, sort of angle wise with the line trace. So that will pretty much do. I think I've brought his right hand a little bit too high. So I'll get it and I'll bring it back down just a smidge and keyframe that. And there we go. It obviously moves around a lot with the animation, but as long as it's lined up relatively well. And we can have a look at how that looks in third person. That looks a lot better, but you can see the line trace is still going quite low. And if we do this on the server, so we can see where the line trace is going in first person, I'll aim at, say, that intersection in the middle of the wall there, and you can see it's going just a little bit lower. You can add a crosshair to the screen if you really wanted to fine tune this. You can add a crosshair and you can fiddle with either the socket rotation on the muzzle or the animation itself, but I'm going to do the animation. So I'm going to go to MetaHuman and look for my idle rifle iron sights. Idle rifle iron sights. And again, I don't have the correct preview asset, so I'm going to browse to the skeleton. Find my right hand. Remove that asset from the pistol socket and add preview asset assault rifle B to my assault rifle B socket, and I'll just reopen that animation to get the preview asset, and yeah, it's pointing down quite a lot. I'm just going to pause this, take it back to the first frame, go to my skeleton tree, find my right hand, switch on world space for my rotation here, and level this out. Keyframe it. And while I'm here, I might see if I can do anything about this horrendous kink in the left wrist here. Like, I'm not going to use these animations. I would want to create my own animations in Sequencer, as I often tell you guys. But while I'm here, I just might try and clean this up a little bit. It is only a placeholder, but it is a damn ugly placeholder. I am going to just fiddle with everything and then I'll keyframe everything. So I'll get the left lower arm and I might bring that out a little bit so that I can get the upper arm and just make his hand extend that little bit further. It's kind of going to be clipping through the weapon there, but that's okay. Like I said, it's just a placeholder, but I want it to look a little bit better than it did. That'll do for now. Yeah, that'll do for now. And then I'll just Control A, the whole skeleton tree, and keyframe everything. And I can hit play and have a look how that looks. Obviously, there's a lot of movement going on there, but hopefully that kink in the wrist is kind of gone now. And also the weapon will be facing more straight ahead. So let's have a look. That is definitely firing closer to the center of the screen there. The wrist still looks really bad. I don't know what's going on there, but you would want to create your own animations with the metahuman skeleton in sequencer and make them a lot nicer. Let's just have a look how this lines up in third person. And you can see the muzzle transform is further back in first person than in third person, but that is absolutely fine. That looks a lot better than it did. It almost looks like that line trace is going right where the weapon is pointed. Nice. So hopefully with what we've set up here, guys, you now are armed with enough information to go ahead and, you know, create your own animations and sort of add your own logic into this project. I've seen some people in my Discord who have sort of gone beyond what we've done in the series, and they've replaced the third person body with metahuman and done all sorts of really cool stuff. You know, you don't have to wait for the series to continue to add more to this. But I spitting on the pistol there. I did just hope to, you know, sort of show you how to add blend spaces and adjust animations. And with my other videos on how to create for your own first person animations, I really hope that you can go on and, you know, add some really special stuff to your projects. This is not the end of the series, but the way I was talking now just made it sound like I was ending the series. This is not the end of the series. I just wanted to record a very quick tutorial to iron out a few kinks, and we can go from there in the next part. So thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.